Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here with this evening's live news update. We'll be looking at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain over the last couple of days, or whenever we did a previous live stream. And we'll also have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. You guys leaving your thoughts, your comments on the channel. And we'll also go into the live chat, this evening's live chat, see what's happening there. But we'll get straight into the news now. And Airbnb fans here in Spain in for a bit of a rough time going forward, I think, because Spain's government has again cracked down on the platform Airbnb. As we can see here, they're facing a fine of 64 million euros for advertising unlicensed tourist rentals. Spain's Ministry of Social Rights, Consumer Affairs and Agenda 2030 has imposed a 64 million euro fine on Airbnb for advertising tourist accommodation without the required licenses, among other infringements. It's the second largest consumer-related penalty ever issued in Spain after the 108 million euro fine levied on Ryanair. Consumer Affairs Minister Pablo Bustinduy said the sanction underlines the government's determination to clamp down on abusive practices in the housing market, a top priority amid rising rents and housing shortages. He stressed that no major economic player is exempt from complying with the law. The ruling is final at the administrative level following the rejection of Airbnb's appeal. In addition to the fine, the platform has been ordered to remove illegal listings and publicly disclose the sanction. Airbnb has responded by insisting it has complied with Spanish regulations at all times and confirmed it will challenge the fine in court. So Airbnb again making headlines here with their illegal or unlicensed tourist rentals being displayed on the platform, of course, and the Spanish government eager for cash, fining them 64 million euros. And a lot of money in anyone's books. Not sure what the market cap or the finances of Airbnb are nowadays, but I imagine they could pay a fine like that without any problems, and they will continue to do business in Spain despite the current government's anti-Airbnb sentiment, because of course they are being blamed for the housing crisis here in Spain, which has no simple answer. People would like to think that Airbnb is the answer. We know that foreigners are also being pointed at as well. So lots of people in the whatever it's called, the objective of haters here in Spain when it comes to the housing crisis, Airbnb, tourists, foreigners, and the like. Second piece of news here now, and Spain is to introduce a 60 euro nationwide public transport pass. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has announced the launch of a nationwide public transport pass costing 60 euros a month, allowing unlimited travel across the country on most state-run services. The new ticket, set to be approved at the final cabinet meeting of the year and introduced in the second half of January, will cost 30 euros for under 26s and is expected to benefit around 2 million users. The flat rate pass will cover Renfe's Cercanías commuter and Media Distancia trains, as well as state-run long-distance coaches, but will exclude high-speed AVE services. The government hopes regional and local authorities will later join the scheme so that metros, trams and urban buses can also be included, bringing it closer to Germany's Deutschland ticket model. Sánchez described the initiative as a strong commitment to sustainable mobility and household savings, particularly for working and middle-class families. Existing public transport discounts will also be extended. So Prime Minister Sánchez announcing this yesterday. It was his big announcement. He was on the front foot yesterday, let's be honest about that. His government is surrounded by different corruption allegations, also allegations of sexism, and Spain apparently is having its own Me Too movement with the Socialist Party and some of the key figures in that party on some fairly serious accusations, let's be honest about that. And Mr. Sánchez scrambling to hold on to power, trying to convince all of his coalition partners, or the main coalition partner, and all of the other partners, as he calls them, to continue with his government, and no doubt promising them the world, but also promising Spaniards €60 travel on government-run public transport systems, but excluding the fast train, the AVE. So interesting. Next piece of news here now, and another storm. Storm Emilia has forced school closures in Valencia and flood emergency in Murcia. Storm Emilia has disrupted large parts of eastern Spain, prompting school closures in Valencia and the activation of flood emergency services in Murcia. After battering the Canary Islands at the weekend, the high-impact storm moved onto the mainland with heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. Spain's weather agency, the AEMET, initially issued red alerts for extreme rainfall, later downgraded to orange warnings in southern inland areas and along the coast of Castellón, where up to 100 litres per square metre could fall, or probably fell, in 12 hours. The Valencia City Council suspended classes on Monday in 32 schools located in flood-prone areas and 3 southern districts, including classes at the University of Valencia and the Polytechnic University. In total, 14 municipalities in Valencia and Castellón cancelled lessons, affecting nearly 79,000 pupils. In Murcia, regional authorities activated Phase 1 of the flood emergency plan amid persistent heavy rain. Maritime links between Algeciras and Ceuta were suspended, while Renfe, the train operator in Spain, allowed free ticket changes for affected routes. So heavy rains again causing chaos in some parts of the country. The Mediterranean coastline, Castellón, I saw on the news yesterday, heavy downpours there, flooding of course, which seems to be very, very common nowadays. Seems that hardly a week goes by without some town on the Mediterranean flooding and emergency services being called in. So when it rains, it pours in the Mediterranean parts of the country. And as we saw there, people in Valencia don't take any risks nowadays after last year's extreme flooding and the deaths of 230 plus people. As soon as there is any hint of heavy rain, schools cancelled, people are told not to go to work, and trying to save lives, which would have been handy a year ago, or more than a year ago. And the final piece of news here, good news for combustion engine fans, and it is that Brussels has softened 2035 ban on combustion cars after industry pressure. The European Commission has bowed to mounting pressure from the automotive industry and several EU governments by easing its planned ban on combustion engine cars after 2035. Less than 2 years after agreeing to end sales of petrol and diesel vehicles, Brussels has proposed changes that dilute the original target. Instead of requiring a 100% reduction in emissions from new cars by 2035, manufacturers would now need to cut emissions by 90%, leaving room for technologies such as plug-in hybrids to remain on the market. The shift follows intense lobbying by car makers concerned about jobs and investment, and political pressure led by Germany, Italy, Poland, backed by the European People's Party, or the Conservative Party in Europe. France pushed for measures favouring vehicles made in Europe, while Spain remained opposed to weakening the ban. Although the Commission insists the climate goal remains intact, the revised proposal marks a significant concession to the industry, particularly benefiting manufacturers that have invested heavily in hybrid technology. So Brussels backing down under pressure from the car makers and also right-wing factions, car-loving factions in other European countries, putting pressure from the more conservative political parties there. And 2035, no longer the date for that 100% ban, bowing to a 90% ban or something there, which will allow the hybrid combustion engine to continue to circulate rather than only electric, which was the plan. But Brussels backing down on that plan. And as I said, if you have a combustion engine, you might be able to keep on driving it beyond 2035, which is less than 10 years away. Is it? If my maths are correct, they're probably not, so don't quote me on that. But you know when we're talking about, right? 2035. Comments? that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. Let's check some of these out. One here from Blu-ray fan, just paid €1.80 for half a dozen eggs, size L at Consume in Campo Amor, Orihuela Costa earlier today. Probably even cheaper at one of the many outdoor markets down here. Price seems affordable to me, not sure what prices were back in January. However, when I first came to Spain in September 2020, I did find my overall weekly grocery bill at Alcampo supermarket was about 20% higher than what I was used to paying back in Dublin, Ireland. Thanks, Blu-ray, for the comment there. Yes, that's what I pay for eggs as well. Seems to be the fairly standard price for one or half a dozen L or large size eggs, €1.80. Probably paying a little bit less if you buy a dozen, maybe $3.20, $3.40 or something like that. But yeah, Spain is not all that cheap anymore, although, do I find eggs reasonable at that price? Well, of course, it depends how many eggs you eat a week, I suppose. I seem to go through about 10 with my son, who loves a fried egg every now and again, scrambled eggs, boiled egg, any way the egg is cooked, he enjoys. So, yeah, $1.80 for a half a dozen eggs. One here from V-Boys. I had the flu and everyone at my job been quite SH1T, but I'm finally feeling better, says V-Boys. Thanks for the comment there, V-Boys. Yes, lots of people wiped out with the flu at the moment. We know that Spain is in the middle of an epidemic. People are being told to wear masks if they're going into hospitals or other health centres. And also, people are being encouraged to get the vaccination and maybe relieve the symptoms of a heavy bout of flu, which we saw there, V-Boys and colleagues at work have had. Another comment here, this one here, sorry. The flu virus was discovered in the early 1930s in the UK, but the first civilian vaccine was developed and available in the USA in 1945 and has saved millions of lives since. What a wonderful world. Thanks, Marco. Marco putting forward a pro-vaccine argument there. Lots of people in the comment section, the anti-vaxxers as they are called, tend to take it over, saying that it's only the flu. No need to get vaccinated. No need to wear a mask. Only clowns wear masks. All of the comments, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is that I'm sure that we could back Marco's comment up here with some facts at least. Probably the fact that millions of lives have been saved by people taking the flu vaccine. But of course, not everyone will agree. And I'm not expecting everyone to do what you want to do. If you want to go around without a flu vaccine, take the risk, go for it. If you want to take the flu vaccine and try to avoid the risk, go for it. Do whatever you want. Oliver KitKat. Morning, Stuart. We've had heavy rain, thunder and lightning in the Costa Blanca. Oh, that's those lights off Amazon. Happy Christmas, everyone. Lacking punctuation there, Oliver, but I think we got the general gist that it was quite wet on the Costa Blanca, as we saw in that article earlier. Schools cancelled, flooding risks, emergency warnings. It's all happening on the Med. It's all happening as far as the rain is concerned. And the final comment here from Linda. Happy Christmas, Stuart and family from Mallorca. Thanks for the news updates, all the news updates. Kind regards. Thanks, Linda, for that. Yeah, a bit of Christmas cheer. Merry Christmas, of course, just around the corner. What's the date today? The 16th of December. Yep, a couple of... I was going to say a couple of weeks, but less than a couple of weeks. Just over 10 days, is it, until Christmas? Again, my maths might be a bit off there. 9 days probably to the 25th, but you get the idea, right? It's just around the corner. Thanks, Linda, for that. And yeah, happy Christmas or Merry Christmas or whatever you call it nowadays. Live chat. We're going to go into that in just a moment. Firstly, we've got to take a look at the picture on the screen here by Chris, who sent this one through from Alicante. We saw the the opposite side of the castle. Now we're seeing the coastal side of the castle, the Alicante port there, or harbour, where the luxury yachts are sitting. And also the beach just down there in the bottom left-hand corner. The Playa, the famous beach there in Alicante, which, as we can see there, it's got some people on it, that is for sure, enjoying the summer weather, or whatever time of the year this photo was taken in. Probably not yesterday. SpainSpeaks@gmail.com is the email address if you want to send your photos through to that email address. People have been sending me their photos through. If you've got one of Spain, send it through, SpainSpeaks@gmail.com. Also, if you haven't hit the like icon yet, please do so. Just below the video you will find it. And also on the YouTube television app, they've changed the app. It's easier to find the like icon now, so take a look for it and hit it, please. People that have supported the channel in recent times, on the screen there now too. Super thanks, buying me a coffee, super chat here on the live streams, Patreon supporters, thank you very much. And also the longer term supporters of this channel here, not only on Patreon but also on the YouTube platform as well. Thank you very much for that support. And the email address, if you've got something to send my way, SpainSpeaks@gmail.com. Feel free. Now, into the chat section I will go. Let me open it up here. We've got a super chat, I think. One has come through from Marcus, regular contributor. I think you sent one last week, Marcus, that I might not have mentioned. Thank you for that one also. And fantastic Airbnb news. If they'd stuck to their original business of helping people share a spare room in their homes, there'd be no problem. Yep, but obviously, Marcus, they felt that their business model needed a few tweaks, and taking advantage of regulation or lack of regulation for years here in Spain, they've managed to make a lot of money, and allowing every Tom, Dick and Harry to put their rental property up on the market on the Airbnb platform and take advantage of the 100 million tourists that visit Spain from international destinations every year. Ching ching. So they'll have to pay the fine, unless, of course, the government changes soon and they scrap that fine, which could also be on the cards. Andrew's in the chat here, coming in from London. Valued member is Andrew, Southeast London. Have a great, I hope we're having a great start to the week. Thanks, Andrew, for that. Barbara's in the chat as well, coming in from Catral. Rain in 15 degrees Celsius there. More rain expected tomorrow, but wasn't as bad as the Costa del Sol, where Mijas suffered a devastating tornado. Thanks for that, Barbara. Didn't read about the devastating tornado, but I'll take your word for it there. Johnny's in the chat here too, valued member. San Diego is where Johnny is. 15 degrees and blue skies. Is that a song? 15 degrees and blue skies? Probably not. But with AI, I'm sure it'll be a song soon. Janet coming in from Oxford, valued member also. Good to see you, Janet. Sani's in the chat too. Mild Basingstoke, valued member. Gigi is in the chat as well. Happy second day of Chanukah, is that? I think that's some type of a Jewish festivity, if I'm not mistaken. Lovely temperatures of 26 degrees in Surprise, Arizona. Thanks, Gigi. Good to see you. Alan, valued member, also in the chat. Philadelphia, 0 degrees there. Brrr, he says. Travels too much, Al is finally realizing. Might need to slow it down, Al. Might need to slow it down. High Flyer John's in the chat. Valued member 2. Made it home on time tonight for the live. Another MRI scan on the knee. Have a great week. Hope the knee's not playing up too badly, John. Marianne's in the chat. So much good information. Thank you from San Diego. Thanks for that, Marianne. Kev's in the chat here as well. Regular viewer, of course, in that rain-affected area, Murcia. Not sure exactly. Oh, here we go. Been bailing my neighbour's flooded, underbuilt apartment. There we go. So, when it rains, it pours in the old Murcia. Kim says, never stay in one. Horrible, unregulated tourist lets. The Airbnb, I imagine Kim is talking about there. Never stayed in one. We've got a super chat here from Alan as well. Very generous, Alan's $19.99. Thank you very much. Have a cool Yule. Whatever that is, I don't know. Cool Yule. Most likely a beer. If it is, I will have one when I finish this evening. Kev saying, yep, flooding very common here. Thankfully our Morphia, that is. Thankfully our ground floor is about 8 feet up, but the underbuild is very susceptible to flooding. Yes. Kev also saying the rain we had on Sunday and this morning was so heavy the pumps couldn't cope. Next door has no pump. It's been bailing and mopping since 8 a.m. I think Kev's been bailing and mopping, trying to get that water out if you haven't got a pump. I've got a pump, I will say. I had an above-ground pool that I needed to get the water out of, and the only way to get the water out of that pool in an orderly fashion was with a pump. So if it ever floods here, I'm ready. Coordinated transit, says Philip, and single pass is a huge boom to the public transit riding community in any nation. The problem, Philip, here is that a lot of the autonomous communities have their own public transport systems and the town halls as well. Good luck, Sanchez, getting those on board, especially in Madrid. Can't see that happening anytime soon. But you never know. If the idea continues into the future, you might be able to get all of these different parts of the country, all of the different players when it comes to public transport on board. And it would be a decent thing. But at the moment, what are you going to be paying? 60 here, 50 here, 40 there? Don't think so. But I don't know. It might work out cheaper. I have no idea. Renan coming in from LA. Good to see you, Renan. Marcus saying the good news about Airbnb. The good news about Airbnb is tempered by the terrible news that the EU gave into the big money rather than worrying about the impact of the combustion engines or vehicles have on our health and environment. Well, European car lobby, Marcus, as we know, very, very strong. The PSAs, the Volkswagens, strong. And lobbying, as we saw. Lobbying. Well, put another word in there if you want, but lobbying was the word that we saw. Oscar coming in from Texas, Houston. Good to be back viewing the great videos. Thanks, Oscar, for that. Thank you for that, Oscar. Fluttergirl takes the flu shot because I want to do whatever I can to prevent getting sick. It's not a guarantee, but the flu can make you very ill for a long time. Yes, that's the idea, right? But people oppose vaccinations for whatever reason. We all know it. Andrew's saying the first registered flu pandemic was the 1918-19 so-called Spanish flu. Killed more people than the First World War. Yep. Evening, Stu. Thanks for the info. Loads of people don't get a vax and then expect the health service to look after them. Unbelievable. Hit the like icon. Thanks, Jay Shed, for that. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into the ins and outs of vaccination, of course, because the comments that I have to put up with, you know. But anyway, you know, flu shot. I've had a flu shot. I feel perfectly fine after my flu shot. Had it about 3 weeks ago, no problems. Will I get the flu? I don't know. I had a cold last week or the week before. Each to their own, as I said. Drew coming in. Hola from Mallorca. Good to see you. Hike Ranger coming in from the Airbnb. There we go, in Los Cristianos. Things will change. Will things change next year? Don't know. Former Madrid correspondent Dave, aka St. Pete to Madrid 960. So might have changed the handle there, not sure. Hola Stu and todos from St. Petersburg, Florida. Good to see you, Dave. Long time. Gary, evening Stu, just up the road from you in Moratalath. Thanks for the update. Not far away, Gary, on line 9 of the metro, of course. Moratalath. Yule means Christmas. Thanks for that, Alan. Cool Yule. Happy Christmas. What else we got here? And Kev saying that underbuilds to allow the water to pass under the house, develop them, and you are asking for trouble without good water management and automatic pumps. Yeah, I reckon an automatic pump would be a good investment anywhere in the Mediterranean area, I would say. Dave saying his granddaughter has been keeping him busy, his sweet granddaughter. Thanks for that, Dave. I imagine that is the case. Anyway, that's the last comment for the day, or last chat. It's been a pleasure as always. Back again on Thursday, I think. Don't think I've got anything on this week, so hopefully on Thursday I will be back. Until that day, stay well. Yeah, I'll see you on Thursday. Hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, and bye-bye.